President Barack Obama says America will emerge from the financial crisis stronger than before. Addressing Congress for the first time, he vowed to fix the country's grim economic situation and halve its giant budget deficit. Well, Dan Gaynor, Vice President of the Business and Media Institute and a critic of President Obama's economic plans, says his speech desperately lacks specifics.
You look at last night's speech, it was an election speech. It was filled with generalities. He's a wonderful speaker. It was very inspiring. It said very little. Even just the climate change ideas he was putting forth in his plan last night are billions of dollars. They're going to hurt an economy already in trouble. Instead of trying to instantly fund banks, is to come up with a stimulus plan that gets directly to the American people, all the American people, right away. And economists have come up with a plan that would actually take payroll tax that comes out of our checks each week and just stop taking that out for a while and give that right to the American public. Instantly, everybody in America would have more money to spend. They would feel wealthier. The reason why that's not going to happen is because that doesn't grow government. And frankly, no politician in either side practically in Washington, Republican or Democrat, wants to remind the American public how much they take out of their pay each week. We've always said that anyone can grow up to be president in our country. Barack Obama has proven that. And I mean, 4 years from now or 8 years, whenever his term is over, people will still like Barack Obama for that because he represents an achievement of the American spirit. That doesn't mean everybody agrees with him. And that's where, if you look at these polls, a lot of the polls raise tons of questions about the stimulus plan or what the president is doing because there's not enough information.
Well, President Obama says the financial crisis is the worst since the 1930s Great Depression. Yet some dismiss the comparison and are more upbeat about recovery. RT's Dina Gazowski's been hearing the contrasting views of two U.S. politicians on the money meltdown.
If only it were that easy to traffic an economy that seems to be heading nowhere but south. At least that's what the President of the United States would have people believe.
The situation we face could not be more serious. We have inherited an economic crisis as deep and as dire as any since the Great Depression.
Harsh words from Barack Obama, but are things really all that bad? I asked two prominent U.S. policymakers what they thought, but these politicians don't seem to agree on much of anything. Barack Obama has said that this economic situation is the worst crisis since the Great Depression. Do you agree with that?
To say that this is in any sense comparable to the Great Depression is a huge exaggeration.
I think it's bad. I think he's probably right on that. But I don't think he has the full understanding of why it's that bad.
Do you think that a Wall Street meltdown is now imminent?
Well, I think it's melted down pretty well already. The melting down will continue, and it's going to be endless unless we change our ways. We can expect this problem to last not for a year or two, but for a decade or two.
I don't think that's at all likely. I think what is likely to happen is that as the U.S. led the fall into recession, it will also lead the recovery out. Economists predict the beginning of a recovery toward the end of this year or early next year.
And when it comes to foreign policy, Barack Obama's priorities are pretty clear. Barack Obama says that he plans to deploy 17,000 more troops into Afghanistan. Do you agree with this?
I think it's a sound decision to increase the troop levels.
I think it's an outrage. Right now we've suffered the most because we're paying for our foreign intervention overseas. But foreign policies don't change. It doesn't change with Democrats or Republicans. They're all interventionists. They all believe in the world empire.
And apparently they believe that more spending, over $1 trillion more, will help the economy.
Economists from across the spectrum have warned that if we don't act immediately, millions of more jobs will be lost.
No, it's the wrong kind of stimulus. I think it's the most foolish trend that we've ever been involved in our whole history.
Whether it has to do with the economy or foreign policy, the very leaders that Americans look to for solutions seem to be taking them into completely opposite directions. Dina Gosofsky, RT, Washington, D.C.
So how does America's economic recovery plan sit with its foreign policy? The Pentagon is working out a new plan for the war in Afghanistan, and the president has authorized some extra troops. Military analyst Eugene Cruchon says Afghanistan is part of a much bigger challenge for Washington.
The major dilemma for Obama to understand and to act upon that NATO is a liability, as well as Karzai in Afghanistan. And the second part of this conundrum, how to put together the other side of this huge challenge, so-called FPAC approach, that Afghanistan is only part of it, and actually it's a minor part of the major challenge which emanates from the lawless Pakistani tribal belt.
And to get more information about US troops in Afghanistan, you can always log onto our website. That's russiatoday.com. We've got a special blog section there relating to the latest news and video. There's also analysis of recent developments, including US military action in Afghanistan.